this decline, I mean, in terms of the experiences that you had, you know, in the 98-99 season, you go into, was it the Masters, get beat 9-0 in the first round?
The UK Championship.
UK Championship, get beat 9-0 in the first round. Yet at the end of that season, you win the World
Yeah.
Championship again.
Yeah.
Was this 9-0 defeat the beginning of the challenge for you, or because it doesn't seem to be, because you go and win a World Championship,
Yeah.
it's the last World Championship that you win,
Yeah.
and then we start to see the changing of you, don't we?
Yeah. I think it was the 9-0 wasn't, it was just one of those days where I just wasn't playing well. The guy was playing well. He was getting all the run of the balls that was going, and it got to 3-4. And I just I can't get back into this match. Just the way I'm playing, and it was one of those things. But it was probably the sort of one of the sort of first signs of sort of frailty mentally, because I'd been behind in a lot of matches. I mean, Mike Hallett in the Masters final, 8-2 behind him and won. I'd been behind him and got back into them, but it's probably the first signs to me that I can't see a way back into this match. I can't get myself to
right.
But then after that season, an old coach that I used to have called Frank Callan, he came back in to sort of work with me a bit. Not that my game was technically gone, but maybe I just needed someone to look in from the outside, and sometimes a little thing will spark
a
something.
tweak, yeah.
But yeah, the last 3 or 4 tournaments, I think I won one, got to a semi-final, then won the World Championship, which from the way the season had gone before was incredible. I'd lost 3 times to Tony Drago. I'd never lost in my whole life in one season. But yeah, it was the start of not feeling dominant, not feeling like the best player in the world.
Tell me about I mean, I know there's a terminology that I don't think you particularly like, right, about the condition that you developed that brought about the deterioration in your game.
Yeah.
I know it's a terminology called Yips. Yes. They use it in golf, which is the inability to be able to putt. They use it in darts, which Eric Bristow, I think, had, which was the inability to release the darts.
Yeah.
I won't use the word yips in terms of describing it, but tell me about what it was and what your condition was that brought about ultimately the deterioration in your game.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the first time it happened would maybe be probably that season, 99, maybe 98. I would play a shot and I just didn't. It's like what happens. You're supposed to go through the ball, accelerate nicely. Right. So for some reason, this hand that delivers the cue tightens up, and you don't go through it. And so I played a shot and I thought that was weird, and I thought didn't feel good.
You remember this specific shot?
Yeah, I don't remember a specific, but I remember there was a shot. There would be a shot in that season where it was round about that time where, and then I think okay that didn't feel good, and then it would happen maybe at 2 tournaments up the road, and then it would happen maybe a couple of times. Then you start to think. Then I started to avoid playing certain shots because I thought, that happened, and what if that happens again? And then your game is good because you're playing the wrong shot all the time. So it sunk deeper and deeper and deeper into my game, and I had 2 or 3 coaches that had different ways of trying to solve it. Some Terry Griffiths tried to shorten my backswing, hold the cue tighter all the time, to try and take any sort of anything out of it. If you're gripping the cue the same way the whole time, then you can't tighten, kind of thing. I got to number 1, back to number 1 doing that, winning tournaments, but then it was still happening. Another coach I've tried, but yeah, I mean to this day, when I play in tournaments, there's shots that I know it's going to happen, and it's completely debilitating.
But what I mean it's physical, it's psychological. What is it?
It starts physical and then becomes psychological. Yeah,
so you're becoming a self-perpetuating philosophy.
Yeah. So I mean, for instance, my last tournament I played in a couple of weeks ago, just a qualifier, I played a shot and then knew I was going to be on this red in a certain way that I couldn't pot it, and I missed it. So that's psychological.
But that's psychological.
That's psychological. Yeah. But that's how sort of deep it sunk in. And everyone said to me, "Why are you thinking like that? Just play." And when I'm on my own playing, I don't do it. So it's almost become like like a stage fright kind of thing.
Right.
Because when I'm on my own playing, like I'll say, because people, when you go to tournaments, people say, how are you playing? I don't practice anywhere near as much as I should, even to play as a wild card. But when I do when I go around and I just play and it's easy and I do everything and it's I never miss a ball. And then I go as soon as I go in front, I have to prove myself in front of anyone. It goes.
And there's nothing, no sports psychology has worked, or I'm assuming they have tried to work with you.
Well, yeah, I've not gone in deep into it.
Really?
I perhaps I should have done. Lots of people said you should have asked Steve Peters if he'd work with you. I don't think he'd work with anyone else if he's worked with Ron anyway, but someone to try and sort this out. I had one guy called Hendry who's kind of does a bit of both technical and psych, and he's asked me to try and watch old videos of myself winning and just look at my cue action, but I just said to him, but all that does to me is tell me how shit I am now. I took it completely the wrong way.
It makes it worse.
Yeah, he says that's not how you're supposed to take that. So you're supposed to look at it and say that's how you can play, and that's how you do play. But I took it the other way. I say, yeah, look how far I've sunk. Because I was very always been hugely
strange.
Harsh on myself.
Where was Ian Doyle in all this then?
Ian had left the sort of company, the management company by then, by sort of early 2000s.
Right.
He
because
lost his wife. And
you're still a young man then, and you're 31 then, aren't you? 32.
Yeah.
Because it without wanting to diagnose something that you've experienced, and obviously it's real, because if it manifests itself in you, it's real, and if it manifests itself in Eric Bristow in darts and whoever else in golf, it's real. But it feels like a psychological block that's coming. I always live by the mantras, like the amateur golfer and the professional golfer on the 18th tee with a water hazard in front of them, and the amateur golfer says, don't hit the water, don't hit the water. And the professional golfer says, hit the green, hit the green. You hit what you see.
Yeah.
But something's changed in your psyche and the wiring of the way that you think about things that you've not been able to overcome. But you can, because when you're doing it without people watching you have, and you're hitting the ball as you always did.
I know, because when I play, there's a guy that's sort of coaching me at the moment, not to be coached to come back and win, but just to... he's got a method called sight right, and Mark Williams, he was using it. He came back and won 4 tournaments, including the World Championship. He said, just have a go with him, just like see if he can, for an interest. So I went with him just to give me something of an interest to practice. And we were together in a room. He still thinks I can win the World Championship because of the way I play on my own in a room. Right. But as soon as I get out in a match against, as I said, people who shouldn't be on the same table as me, it just, I'm losing every match. Because someone quoted on Instagram the other day, why is Stephen doing this to himself, like playing these wild card matches? And in a way, I agree. But in a way, I just think maybe one match it might,
might click.
It might click.
Yeah. How debilitating was it for you?
Oh, hugely.
You're going to have to be sat. I mean, James Wade, the dart player, talked about having panic attacks on the oche and holding himself together. And I've been in that situation where I've been on a major television show having because I used to have panic attacks, having a panic attack, thinking, please don't come to me. And the problem for me is I was the most trappiest person on the panel, so they always came to me. But with you've got to sit there in a game where you're no longer dominating the bays. You're sitting there watching players that you don't, in the back of your mind, shouldn't be carrying your cue. And you're sat there for significant... I mean, what kind of effect does that have on you as an individual?
Yeah, I mean, it's just... You just sink lower and lower into your chair. And into that, you absolutely rip yourself to pieces in your head as well. And I would just, call myself every name under the sun. You're useless. You can't really look at you. What was that? What sort of shot was that? And I'm watching these players who, I say, couldn't lace my boots, playing the shots that I can't play. Someone who's ranked like 70 in the world. Yeah. And I think, I can't even play that shot that he's just played. And it's like, yeah, and it's, and as I say, and I never sorted it. So, all right. And that's, the main reason I retired is because I just couldn't, I had no confidence. Yeah. So, my game was shot, basically.
It's a remarkable transformation, isn't it? From ultimate confidence to being bereft of confidence, almost.
Like I made a 147 my last World Championship, and it's like, out of 36 shots you play, I hit 6 properly. Yeah. But people come, my God, you're back. You won a 147. You win this. It was unbelievable. I said, but you don't realise how shit that was.
How much of a struggle it was for me.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Or how good I must be to have even done it in the basis of not being able to hit the ball the way I want to.
I know. Well,
that's the other side of the argument, isn't it?
What I say to Steve Feeney, the coach guy, I says, look, I hate having to try hard at this game. Yeah. I never used to have to try hard. It was easy. And now, you know, when I play, it's like, oh my God, every shot's like a pint of blood. It's like.
Do you miss playing at the level you played?
Oh
do you miss the
yeah.
competitivity?
Yeah,
Or are you at peace with the journey that you've been on? Because your achievements are remarkable, and I've said it 4 or 5 times. And I'm not saying it because you're sat across me. But if you dominate a sport for 10 years in the manner that you did, and achieve the things that you achieved, then there is some body of work there that you must be able to gain some peace from, irrespective of whether you think it came to an end slightly precipitously.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like a different person that did that, or a different life. But of course, I'm completely proud of what I achieved. I mean, I achieved incredible things, and to be fair, I didn't even realize how good I was until I was doing my book 3 or 4 years ago, because I had to research all the tournaments I played and everything. I was watching it on YouTube, and I thought, fuck me, you were good. I mean, I had all the shots that everyone had, but but now looking back, it's so long ago. What's the 90s now? 30 years ago. It's incredible. But yeah, it's I miss. Obviously, I work for TV, and you're in the arena before a final.
Yeah.
Talking to the host, you've got a microphone in your hand. I'd much rather have a cue in my hand. That's what you miss. You miss the buzz of playing in an arena, being at the Crucible in the final session. That's what you miss. I don't miss playing 6 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week. I don't miss that at all. But yeah, I mean, I'm so jealous every time I'm commentating as a player walking out in front of a big crowd.